Hello and welcome to episode 151 of the Brass Junkies. I am your host, Andrew Hitz, and I am joined by the ravishing Lance LaDuke. Lance, how are you this evening?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm in a really good mood. My son is home safe and sound from college for his he's probably going to survive the fall semester of his freshman year. So
There
it's
you
nice
go.
having him back. Yeah, I miss having him around.
A couple of hours ago, I was counting down the days until my son left for college,
Yeah.
but he's 6.
Yeah, talk to me again in a couple more weeks. But
Oh yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
well, no, this was crazy too. He he sprained his ankle bad. Like I saw it. It's gruesome. So he had to have help getting his stuff out of his room, and they can't let any parents up. So the blah 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 blah. Anyway, I'm lifting bags of stuff into the car. It's mainly clothes, and I was like, "So do you have a lot of laundry in there?" He goes, "Yeah, it's all clean." I was like, "You don't have any dirty laundry?" He's like, "No, I did all the laundry." I'm like, welcome home.
It's a weird flex from the young man. Like, why would you do that? Also, I insist on paying for all of my own food over break. It's like, what do you? Why?
Yeah, it's true.
So we thought that we would. We actually had a last minute opening here in terms of a guest slot, and since this is coming 2 days before Thanksgiving, we thought that we would do an episode for us to give thanks, and we actually. Took us like 20 minutes to come up with the list. There's quite a bit of, and you know what?
Not because we didn't have people to thank. Let's be clear.
I was like,
nope, just us. I'm awesome and you're awesome.
If we really meant it, it would have taken like 3 minutes, but it really took a long time to come up with more than you and me and and Sam. Yeah, that's like the full list of things we're actually thankful for. But the first thing that we're thankful for is a brand new sponsor.
That's right. So we got approached, I guess, a month or so ago from Mark Houchin, who was a guest on the program on
episode 61.
61. And he, of course, is from the Pittsburgh Symphony, and Houchin Horns is his family business. And they approached us about being sponsors, and we couldn't be more excited to have them on board. And so we have a bunch of potential things to talk about with them, but a couple of things I want to point out to you. This is a funny thing. So, Mark, I'm very sorry right out of the gate and I told you, Mark, that anytime you're a sponsor, then that instantly brings abuse your way. And so I'm looking at the bullet points that he sent, and I was just sort of glancing at the bullet points, and they're all fantastic. But one of them says, Houchin Horns is a premier brass pro shop, which I read Bass Pro Shop in my mind, and
they have a huge trout pond actually right in front of the trumpet display. So yeah.
But I do have to say, and I was just looking at the website, which you will find in the link in the show notes, and a little bit more about that in a second. But Houchin Horns has newly expanded policies that make it easier to purchase and test drive the best equipment during a time when safety and staying at home are top priorities. There's a 15-day money-back guarantee with free shipping on all new instruments and accessories with multiple easy financing options on all inventory, and there are terms and conditions which apply. The site is really good. There's a bunch of articles, and they have in-person equipment consultations, virtual equipment consultations. There's interviews, advice, performances, how-to, maintenance stuff. So it's a great site. Even if you're just a brass fan, they have a whole. Of course, Houchin got going initially with horns, French horns. They have trombones, trumpets, tubas, and euphoniums as well. They have, as I mentioned, free in-person virtual equipment consultations with our team of professional musicians. And enter the promo code Junkies11 at online checkout to receive, are you sitting down? $500 off of your purchase of a new instrument from Houchin Horns. You get $500 off if you put Junkies11 in at your checkout. So please do that.
Maybe I'll buy one.
I know.
What's the cheapest thing? Like a trumpet?
They got to have something that's like $300, and then they owe me $200.
Honey, get in here. Why did you spend $2,000 on a trumpet? It was $500 off, honey. I mean, what was I supposed to do? It's a $2,500 trumpet that I bought for $2,000.
I'm saving us money.
Exactly.
So no, we're just super tickled that Mark and Houchin Horns have decided to be sponsors. So we want to really encourage you to go check out, like I said, a ton of really great content at the site, and then of course just couldn't be happier to have them as a sponsor.
There we go. Thank you to Houchin Horns. You know what else we're thankful for?
What is that?
Yens.
Like I said, what is that?
I like that people who aren't even regular listeners of the Brass Junkies who watched his episode were commenting on his shirt, and I was like, yeah, and I was getting messages about how much his shirt cost, and it was from regular listeners, and it was really great to have him on and to catch up. For if you happen to be listening to this and you missed episode 150, which is a pretty round number, we finally had Jens on the podcast, and there was some really good stuff. So
yeah, he was not only a good sport, which we expected, but then he was a good I shouldn't say it that way. He was a good sport, which we expected. And he was a great guest, which we expected. Yep. It was just so fun. It's like I am very, very thankful that we have run across the number of knucklehead that we call friends over the years, and I don't see them like I used to. I mean, not because of COVID, but just like our lives are going a different direction, especially since I came off the road. Sure. So to get to spend even an hour or whatever it was, 2 hours chatting with a good buddy was so fun. And then you told the story about how he hit you up. How much did he get for the UCLA class? What was the deal there?
It was 2 hours before. I think it was 2:30, maybe. It was 2.5 hours before, and he said, "Hey, are you free to talk to the UCLA brass chamber class?" And then I'm thinking like, "Oh, sure, that'll be fun." And then I keep reading. It was like, "It's at 5 p.m." I was like, "It's 2:30 now." I was driving back from Shenandoah National Park, and I was like, "Yeah, I think so." So yeah, it was, 2 hours later, I was given a master class for UCLA. So
I was looking for it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it in time. So we interviewed him on a Saturday?
That sounds about right.
On the 2 days later, I got a text in the afternoon that said, "Hey man, are you free to talk to the UCLA brass class at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time?"
But no, it wasn't 5 p.m. Pacific. It was 5 p.m. Eastern.
Oh no, I got 5 p.m. Pacific. So I actually had a little extra time to prepare.
Okay. That's funny.
He also, I was not just going on and on about how nice Jens is, but he said some of the nicest thing. I was really
He did the same to me too.
I didn't know what to do with that.
Which, I was a nicer, he said incredibly flattering things to me to the whole class. You can see the kids going like, "Oh wow," like yeah, and like one of the best tuba players in the world. Like, and he wasn't joking. And then I should have felt bad with the amount of abuse I gave him in front of all of his students, and I didn't at all. Like it was, it was.
Oh, I did the exact same thing.
I'm sure you did. The first one was like, you could see a couple people kind of snicker. And then like the second one, which was like 2 minutes later and it was like on a completely different subject. Like there was a couple, I actually saw a couple of kids like go like, "All right." Like, yeah, they're like, so this is, they thought, they were wondering if maybe the first one was a fluke. They're like, it's going to be another 53 minutes of this, isn't it? This is awesome. So yeah, that was fun. So we love you, Jens.
We do.
You know what I'm thankful for very much for having this.
You're going to tell me.
Sorry. For having this podcast as a creative outlet during all of this crap since March. Like
it's going to be for sure. And I haven't. Do you listen to old episodes of ours?
Never.
Me neither. So
I didn't make a decision not to.
I know. It was like, I don't need to hear me more.
Yeah.
But it will be fascinating in a few years to listen back during this period, and to
Yep.
hear what was on our minds. And because I don't know if you know or not, but we shifted. Have been historically we try and book guests, you know, a few weeks out. But when the pandemic hit, Andrew suggested we record as close to the release date as possible because things have been changing so quickly.
Especially early, right? It was, yeah, it was nuts.
And so I think it'll be an interesting record of this time, just to go back on and see what in the world was going on. We didn't. I mean, I don't think we like dwelled on it, but we certainly. I mean, you couldn't help but talk about it.
Yeah, it was TBJ132 was Phil Snedeker, and that came out on March 3rd.
Mm.
And so I don't remember exactly, but we probably interviewed him like at least 2, probably up to like 5 days before that. So it was like the end of February. And, all of this had already made my radar, and I knew that danger was coming, but, none of us really knew the full extent of things. And then March 17th was Christopher Bill, and that was right around the time when the trapdoor, like that was just after it. And then Rex Martin, and then Jeff Nelson was like, that was April 14th was Jeff Nelson, and that was like, we let loose on that one. That was when we were like at our absolute punchiest, was when we had, and we're way too good of friends with Jeff, so it was just like the first 20 minutes was just, that's one of my favorite episodes ever, because, and I've had people comment to this effect, is that you are, generally speaking, it's one of the two of us is in extreme jackass mode, then the other is kind of a little bit of a governor, and it's not a planned thing, it's not even a conscious thing in the moment, but like that one, you were at 11, I was at 11. And anytime I just see him in the same room as Jeff Nelson, he gets that look in his eyes, like, let's go. Like,
Hello, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh.
And so he starts at 11, and sometimes you can talk him down to a 9, but then he's violently pushing back up. And we were just, but then he was mixing in like brilliant pedagogy, like brilliant. Some of my favorite in 150 episodes. And then we would just go right back to Jeff. And it's like all these nuggets are like, if our
disco lights behind him.
Yes.
It's true.
If our brand of crazy is not your thing, like, but yet what Jeff is saying was like really kind of life changing. You had to wade through. It's like somebody having to do like 20 hours of research for a doctoral thesis to get like a couple of paragraphs of like that make like the entire first half of their dissertation like come together. It's like, yeah. So anyway,
that was also back when it was a novelty to have someone's kid like show up partway through the whatever, because now all of that's gone. People's cats are walking by their desks and their kids are, and we're just all used to it. And that's on national television. This is happening.
Yep.
And so, but it was still kind of hilarious that his kid interrupted partway through the thing.
Yep.
Now I wouldn't even blink an eye if it happened.
Not at all. Yep. Roy Lance's kid walked in. Remember that?
Right.
To get something out of the refrigerator or something. It turned out it was like 6:30 p.m. and they hadn't eaten dinner yet. Yep. So yeah, exactly. There was nothing that. And Mike's pretty damn even keel dude, and also he knows it's just us. Like, but like I'm guessing if that was a year ago, he kind of would have been like, oh, and he was just like, yeah, there's my daughter.
Yeah.
She's gonna get something to eat behind me.
And we're like trying to pretend like she wasn't watching to see what was going on.
Yep. Yeah,
she
was
all cagey.
Yep. That was pretty good. So, but yeah, boy, it's been great because so many other creative outlets. I mean, it's just like I haven't played in an orchestra in a very long time. I haven't played in a brass quintet in a very long time. Even like my Easter and Christmas Eve gigs and stuff, it's like, the band and the music, it's like, I live in Washington, D.C. Like the band is, and I also contracted, which helps, but it's like, it's killer. It's like trumpets from the Marine Band. It's like, it's like Hiram Diaz and, and like, Rob Singer. I mean, it's just like, it's unbelievable musicians. And it, even that's gone, it's like, yeah. So, yeah, it's been hard in a lot of ways. So it's just like, yeah, but this has been awesome. So
here's something that you'll be surprised to hear.
What?
I'm thinking about recording another album.
Another Euphonium album.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I haven't played it all, and I mean, played lessons and a little bit here and there, but I was thinking, what I mean, what I don't. It's just like I need. There's a bunch more stuff that I think is worth recording, and so I might tell you. So the I think right now here's what it is. Here's the current plan. Is this going to be called Grooves, Relentless and Otherwise?
Huh.
Because I'll record both the Relentless Grooves.
Nice.
Which because the one Sam wrote for me, I recorded it. It's been 20 years ago, and I'll come to that very differently than I did the first time.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'll have more than a day and a half to learn it, which will be fun. I had a little more than that. Maybe I might have had a week. But I didn't have much time, and we were still making changes.
That's so unlike Sam.
No, man, change, make that this, move that that should be like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Pretend like that's like a B9 chord in that measure. Change things accordingly. Like, how would you like me to play it?
So then I also found there's this piece. There's a cello suite based on Bach cello suites. That's a jazz cello suite, and instead of Bourrée 1 and 2, it's Groove 1 and 2.
Really?
So I'll do those, and then Holtz wrote those 3 grooves.
Yep.
And then there's this piece, which is called Pocket Grooves, which is for bassoon and hand percussion. It's 3. There's actually 4 movements. There's a Venezuelan vibe, Egyptian vibe, like a funk rock vibe, and then the other one is Brazilian.
I'd like to thank you in advance because I've been like, when recitals happen again, I need some new stuff, and like, it sounds like you just found me some new stuff.
Yeah, I have another. I said the other thing that happened, which I didn't anticipate. Now, actually, and part of the reason I'm saying this out loud is now I have to do it.
Right.
But I actually came up with 3 or 4 different ideas, because this one won't have much comedy, probably none. But then the next one might all just be the comedy songs that I've written.
That's awesome.
Because I tallied them up, and between songs and parodies, there's like almost 20. So I don't need to record all of them, but I should get them down. So I kind of felt like I've been helping others be creative, and I haven't done it for myself, and so that's my current plan.
There you go.
We'll see. Yeah, I thought that'd surprise you.
This will surprise you. You know what I was just thinking the other day? That like I think I actually want to play in a brass chamber group again.
Weird,
right?
See, what is this? What's happening?
I mean, my goal would be to be on the road with it for give or take 0 days a year. But yeah, I mean, but the choices in DC. I mean, I wouldn't want Kevin Gibo to be in it, but if I didn't include him, I'd feel bad. So I'll probably call him.
Right.
There's like Pilkington is in town, and I'm not in the Shenandoah faculty quintet with him anymore. It might be a brass quintet that's just playing all pre-existing stuff, just make it real easy, or it could be something completely different. Who knows? We'll see once this whole thing is over. Yeah, right? I mean, I'll give it like a week after it's over. I'll be like, okay, good. That itch is scratched. Let me, I'm going to go.
I remember why I quit this.
I'm going to go back to my house now. No. You cannot come in. Yeah, no, I'm going to just be in here. Anyway, I'm thankful for locking doors on my house, both in and out of pandemics. I am next on our list. Thankful for all the guests that we've been able to interview.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. You pointed out just since, because this is our 2nd annual, apparently this is now a pattern, the Andrew and Lance Give Thanks episode. So this is giving thanks again. But Susan Ryder of the Marine Band, Patio Pat Sheridan, Chris Buckley, you just mentioned, Martin McCain was so fantastic.
I mentioned Hiram, dude. I didn't mention Chris.
Like I said, you mentioned Hiram. It was nothing to do with Chris.
They're basically the same. They wear different uniforms, but they're.
forgot.
They're interchangeable in terms of chops and senses of humor. So, and they're friends. So
Also
it's
true.
fun.
When did we have Hiram? I guess that was longer than a year ago.
That was earlier. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
fun though.
Yeah, Martin McCain, like Julie Landsman. How about that interview?
And
Goodness.
then to have her, yeah, that was seismic.
Yep,
She was so awesome.
That was seismic, and John Lofton and Chris Martin was okay.
Who's that?
The he texted me both for the interview and for when he did the trumpet workshop, like a day or two beforehand, saying like, "Oh, sorry, I can't make it." he was totally just joking. So I'm not going to say anything nice about him because he's a jerk. Yeah, Marty Hackelman, Brittany Lash,
Right.
Tom Houchin. I mean, yeah, the list just goes on and on and on. We've been talking to too many trumpet players lately. Maybe that's why we're so punchy. Like, how should we deal with being sad in a pandemic? Let's talk to a bunch of trumpet players who are used to the world all telling them that they're amazing. It's like, yeah, gee whiz. Good, nice plan, nice creative outlet. But yeah, that's the coolest thing about this, right? We get to talk to like the most talented brass players. Certainly skews heavily US. For a lot of that's just practicality in terms of like time zones and things like that, because we tend to be free at night, and at night in Europe is also at night. It's just kind of it's a different hour. So
well, yeah, there's an interesting segue there, I think, because the next thing on the list of things we're thankful for are the workshops, and so we actually were able to kind of crack the code a little bit on that one in the Euphonium workshop. We were able to talk to Dave Thornton, and it was just like so fun. He was great.
We've been trying to get him on the show for for literally years, because we've been doing this for coming up on 6 years now. So it's like, and he's just really busy. Like, we almost had him at one point, and then that man, he is a busy person in terms of his teaching and playing schedule. And I'm actually really happy because I've been friends with him for a very long time. I'm happy that he actually reached out to me and was like, "Hey, we never made that happen. Let me know if you ever want to make." And I was like, "Yeah, like next week." It's like, let's do, and actually that was for the workshop, so that was like a month later. But I was right about to plan it, and I was like, I think we would have come up with him anyways, but it was just like it was all meant to be. He would have been on the shortest list possible. And then we gave him an early slot so that it was not at 1 a.m. for him. And the time zone thing is fascinating because his thing was at like maybe 9 p.m. Manchester time, and he asked Manchester, England, and he said, do you need me to play? Because he was going to have to go. He was going to offer to find some place to go to broadcast from if he had to play, because his kids were going to be asleep. And it was just kind of like, because it's the pandemic, everybody, it's like, and he was going to do it, but you can't just say, I will go to blank, because it's kind of like, is it open? Am I allowed in there? Is like, who was in there before me? Is it ventilated? It's like, I was like, how about you just talk in your cool sounding accent? And because a ridiculous amount about teaching and playing the euphonium, and then we'll be good with that. He said, fair enough. So, Yep.
Well, and so that was one of a number of events that we're trying to branch out and try some other models for things. And so the summer workshop, I think, was the first, and it was such an amazing event. And then the trumpet one, euphonium one, and then of course the Sam tribute. So with Julie Landisman again on that one, and just our ability to I mean, it's not all altruistic. I don't mean to. I mean, we're certainly charging people to do these things, but it is because of our love for these people and the stuff that we're just into. We're junkies for, pardon the pun.
Yep.
And then with the SAM project, and we have some more projects like that coming down the pike, there is an altruistic mission. We're trying to make the brass world a better place if we can.
Yep.
Grow where you're planted kind of vibe. So.
Yeah. Amen. And I've got I've got another Sam related thing that's coming down the pike, which I'm not going to announce yet, but yeah, that's that'll be good. So yeah. So speaking of being good,
Mm-hmm.
Parker Mouthpieces, which
Mm.
I totally, let's just imagine that I totally have already pulled up the spot because, like, I mean, why wouldn't I have pulled up the spot? Parker Mouthpieces offers fine customizable component mouthpieces for horn, trombone, euphonium, and tuba, including the Andrew Hitz artist model tuba mouthpiece and the Lance LaDuke model euphonium mouthpiece.
Oh, yeah.
You can find out more at parkermouthpieces.com, or you can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I think I just did it. There you go.
Here, we want you to send him an email because
Yes.
this is really going to freak him out.
This
And what we would like you to do is to thank him for sponsoring our show. He will think that there's a setup here. So it works because we do want to thank him and we want him to feel appreciated. So if you would send your thanks to
if you go to parkermouthpieces.com, click on the contact us link, and then yeah, please, it'll take 10 seconds. Just send him a quick fill out the form. Just say thank you for supporting the Brass Junkies. It means a lot to me. Something like that. And he'll wait for the other shoe to drop, and then he'll text me because he'll be confused, and I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about, and it'll be awesome. So that's good. That's good. I like it. I like how you think, Lance.
Yeah, see? And so this is another nice segue because we're going to talk about you nice fan listener people.
Right.
This goes without saying, but none of this would happen if people weren't listening.
Yep.
We were trying to figure out the number, but it's hundreds of thousands of views, listens, downloads in the almost 6 years we've been doing this. People reach out to me. I'm sure they reach out to you on a regular basis saying either they heard about it or thank you for doing it. I was doing a teacher at Carnegie Mellon University, and the Alumni Association had me do an online interview with a guy named Scott Wasserman, who is really cool. He's an alum from maybe 6 or 8 years ago, and he is the guy who did all of the Ableton control. He created the Ableton patches, I guess. I'm sorry, Scott, for Hamilton. So anything that was driven by Ableton, he programmed. He came out as a music major and sort of worked his way up, and we had this cool interview with him where he explained what he did, and he's basically created this is a job that didn't exist before him. Now there's Ableton controllers on any major Broadway show because of without going too far down that road, it allows you to control lots of different elements, not just music elements. But anyway, he's like at the front of that pack. And so we did a Q&A after they played this video. And then afterwards, I got a really nice email from a potential donor for some things we're doing at CMU. And the guy was really nice, and so we sent some emails back and forth, and I mentioned Brass Junkies on the thing. He goes, I'm going to have to forward my dad the information about your podcast because he's a former tuba player. So it's just like, you don't know where this stuff is going to go.
Right.
Going back one half step, you got to check out Scott Wasserman's podcast. It's called Song Salad. And him and this woman he went to undergrad with, at CMU, was a librettist, or is a librettist, and they wanted an excuse to work together. And so she takes a Wikipedia article and he takes a genre of music, and they create a song by the end of this thing. And it's hilarious and awesome.
That's great.
And incredible what they do. There's like over 300 of them, 200 or 300 of them there, but they're just brilliant. So
that's great.
Anyway.
That's the equivalent of when we have a guest on who's a doctor, which I never tire of making fun of that, and and Googling their dissertation and then asking you for a number and then doing a dramatic reading of page 44. It's just their version actually takes creativity and talent. So ours is just putting down. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
I was I laughed because Larry Powell, who's a hell of a trumpet player, and he has a podcast called Studio HFL Podcast, where he's interviewed Vinny DiMartino and Rex Richardson, and you all should check it out if you haven't heard it. But he and I were emailing, and we hadn't met before, although we have now digitally. But he, when I emailed it, when I responded to his email, his response to me was, I heard your entire email in your voice because I listened to so many Brass Junkies and TEM episodes. So, which was pretty funny. It was just like, it's I forget that there are people that are as talented as that guy who are like, and he's listened to tons of both Entrepreneurial Musician and the Brass Junkies, and it was just funny because it's funny. I feel like I know Leo Laporte, and I feel like I know Jeff Jarvis, and it's kind of wild. And they don't know me from Adam, but
Thornton was talking about how he listens to all the episodes.
He's gotten really into jogging. So he sent me a few months ago, before we even talked about the workshop, he thanked me, and he said, my wife also thanks you because it helps to get me out of the house in the middle of the pandemic. But he said that he listens to us while he's jogging all the time, and that we're hilarious, and that it helps him keep going. So which is pretty wild. So where even though he's a buddy, he's still like world-class euphonium player running around the streets of Manchester, England. Listening to us is kind of wild.
I remember Novo he said he would be out running, and then he would have to stop because he was like laughing so hard, and he said he just was sure he looked like he was insane because he would just be running down the road and then stop and double over in laughter.
That's probably because you called him Bubble Butt or something like that. So, speaking of which, why don't you tell the beautiful people about the Papert people?
Yeah, the Papert people have been longtime sponsors. Maybe Parker is the only most longer tenured sponsor. I can't quite remember when those things happened, but they were roughly. I mean, it's been years that the Mary Papert School of Music at Duquesne University has been sponsoring the show. If you're interested in finding out who teaches in the brass area, what ensembles and opportunities there are, there's a link in the show notes that'll take you to the brass area page, and it's been awesome to have them as a sponsor for as long as they have been. And very, very, very special thanks to Jim. Thank you very much, Jim. I really, really mean it. From the bottom of my Nova for making this possible. No?
I don't know. Do you want to eulogize him while I play taps on the piano?
It's sweet if you played it wrong, too. Jim, I feel like at any point you might just reach out and text me. I mean, like, it just seems like you're still here with us, which is, I just don't know how to express all the feels that I have about you and yours. I feel honored to have known you. Oh, and actually, I greatly appreciate when you send me regular updates on the number of views that your YouTube channel gets.
So we are also.
Yeah, that's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a weird one. When it went up to the. I was like, I actually sweated for a second. I was like, CEG, right? I was like,
I would have.
Notice I did not choose the key of, for any of you without perfect pitch, I did not choose the key of B major or anything adventurous. I was like, let's leave the black keys out of this. We are very appreciative of our patrons.
How about that?
Yeah.
When did we start that? Do you know? I should know these things.
I want to say that
I should know more about it.
We run a business.
Well, run is Let's see. Right.
I think it was maybe like 6 months after we started the thing. It wasn't
like
right
that.
away. It might have been a few months. It was not. We did not launch Patreon when we launched the podcast. I do know that.
Right. Well, I tell you, it's been again, just an honor that some of you feel are willing to help us cover the costs of pushing this stuff down the road. Put it to you a different way. The summer workshop wouldn't have happened without the Patreon's support. The other workshops that were like all these extra initiatives. We have a new website coming out that you'll hear about in a little bit. None of that would have happened if we weren't getting the kind of help that we get and support that we get from our patrons.
We were able to buy Will Houchin, our third partner at Petalone Media, a brand new, really nice computer because he does so much video work for us, and his old MacBook, it was taking a long time to render the videos. So, which we couldn't do, which frees him up to do other stuff for Petalone Media. So we couldn't do any of that without your support.
Wouldn't happen. We have over 100 patrons, and we've been over 100 for some time. We have actually, there's multiple people that have given us over $500 lifetime. So Dan Morris, Doug Rosenthal, Ellen Geispan, another 17 people have given over $250 lifetime. Another 21 given us over $100 lifetime. And if you're giving us $5, we're happy. I mean, this is it doesn't matter. It's just, and actually there's 9 people who've been with us from the very first year of putting that out. Dan Bradley, Adam Crow, Russell Edders, Tom Holtz, Dave Jennings, Michael Parker, Alan Guys Panchi, Aaron Thomas, and Robert Tongue. Thank you so much for being longtime supporters of the show and for spreading the word.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Good stuff. There you go.
How about that?
We just mentioned Will, right? Yeah, Will, who our YouTube channel is like we're up to the Brass Junkies YouTube channel is up to almost 300 subscribers.
Yeah,
which it has not been a thing for very long. It's just been a handful of episodes, so that's just kind of steadily climbing, which is awesome. And and Will is who he puts all the video together, he puts all the audio together, he set up the channel, he's putting up all the back episodes, he's all of that is like, Lance and I just we just speak our infinite wisdom and our always funny and timely jokes into the microphones, and Will makes all the magic happen after that. Yep. So, and speaking of Will, Abby Lannon, is that how you say her last name?
It is. Abby.
Yep. Lannon. Who's she's amazing. She does so much stuff behind the scenes for us. Like Will, she does more work than we do also.
We'd grind to a halt without those two. And Abby she's been with us now officially since late spring, right? Somewhere in there, mid spring.
Yeah, I think it was.
Remember. Was it longer ago than that?
I think it was pre-pandemic, I think.
Oh, maybe it was.
Which that's the thing is like the pandemic thing is just kind of like it. I mean, it's been 8 months now that we've been in pandemic. So anything that happened before then has been more than 8 months. So we started working with her around August 1st, I think. No, it was like I don't know. She's awesome. It's
hard for me to keep track. See, Abby came to me as a grad student at CMU, and she's a force of nature, man. She's really, I think that she represents an opportunity. Like I feel like she's she's got her head in the kind of career that is unique to this time and age. And I'm just so proud of all the stuff that she does. And I feel real lucky that, we get to have her talents on our team as well.
I wouldn't go as far as proud or feeling lucky, but I'm really happy that she's with us. So no, she's a badass. She's awesome. At some point, I hope it's not next week, but at some point she is not going to work with us anymore because she is going to be off like, like building and
Yeah.
dominating like segments of the world on her own, and she already is, but it's like but we're very lucky to have her. Don't tell her I said that.
Well,
And
and actually, we've been lucky because we've had interns in the past,
which Abby was, and
exactly,
then
and so then, and we've had so to have her grow into this position. I mean, we basically
we created the position for her.
So we could keep, and to say nothing of the Media Makers Workshop that she and
Mhm.
Scott Sutherland hosted. That we were so happy to have out in the world. I think it's still available if you want to go sign
It
up
is.
for it. You can sign up.
It is. Yep.
But it's so exciting because we've had a number of interns, including Austin.
Yep, and Austin Boyer is working right now, feverishly working behind the scenes on a new website for us, for a new Petalnote Media website, which we will certainly announce. And we're also going to be launching a whole bunch of newsletters, which are there's going to be a newsletter sign up, if I understand how this is all going to work. But then you are going to be able to check as many or as few boxes as you want. Like if you want to hear about the Brass Junkies, and you want to hear about the entrepreneurial musician and nothing else, then great. If you want to hear about winning the audition, which I did one of at the Trumpet Workshop, and there's more coming starting in January, and the Brass Junkies, and you don't need to hear about TEM or anything else we're doing, then that's also going to be possible. You can basically, you're going to be able to steer exactly which flavors you want and which you won't, but it's going to cover everything that we do for Petalnote Media, and that's going to be coming soon. We don't have a launch date for those yet, but that should be pretty soon. I mean, you don't really launch anything like at Christmas time, so probably early in 2021. So
I believe that to be true.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, we're thankful for a lot.
We are. I feel very, very, very fortunate to be doing this. This just seems like a lot of people have it a lot worse than I do, and to get to try and crack people up and share some insights and ideas and expose people to these artists is beg your pardon, it's a gift,
Yep, indeed. There you go. Well, anything else, Lance? Do you is your heart content?
Is that a hint? I mean, you were trying to get to thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Lance.
Subtle, like a rock fight.
I thank you sarcastically at the end of every episode. I love watching. I love watching the guests try and wait, is this sincere? And this is not sincere.
I have one more thing. Here's how much I appreciate you. I
should have kept my mouth shut.
We recently got a cottage, and we've been going through the cottage, and I found something that I'm going to send to you.
Oh my goodness.
You think that it's going to be terrible, and I know that you're going to be very happy when I send you the thing that I send you.
There you go. You found in a cabin you bought. It's just there you go.
I was not. What's crazier than that?
Is it like a typewriter that I can type my manifesto on?
No.
Awesome.
It's a. I found it in a tub in the shed, and why it was in a tub in a shed. We'll have to, we're teasing it now. So then once you get it, we'll have to have you. But what it was doing there is beyond me. I don't understand. But I thought, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I got to send this to Andrew. I mean, I don't know. I was like, Hannah, come look. She said, okay, Lord. So yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yep.
There you go.
So that's coming your way.
I got you nothing.
No, that's okay. I wouldn't have gone out of my way to get you something, but this fell into my lap, and so I was like, well.
Just to be clear, it didn't sound to me like you'd gone out of your way to get me something. You're like, I was standing over this tub I had just bought, and then I saw this thing.
Well, to be honest, I thought for a minute, Mitch Hedberg was one of my favorite stand-up comics, and he had a really funny thing where he said, sometimes I think of something funny, and if the pencil and paper are on the other side of the room, I have to convince myself it was not that funny. So I thought there was a hot second where I thought, well, he doesn't know this exists. I wouldn't have to send it to him because I got to go get a thing to put it in and mail it. And
that is annoying.
There's a few more steps there. But that's how much I appreciate you. Andrew.
Wow, unbelievable. I can feel the love all the way from my undisclosed location in the DC suburbs. So
that's right.
The currently very calm DC suburbs.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, Lance LaDuke.
We did it.
We did it. Another year. How about that?
Can't believe it.
Yeah, thanks for everybody who left a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get the show. We are going to, as always, record a bonus episode. The bonus episode with Jens is priceless.
Mm-hmm.
You get the bonus episodes go back to, I know we did one with Sam. It started somewhere in the 90s. So there's almost 60 bonus episodes. This might be the 60th, 56th, 57th, 50, somewhere in there. Bonus episodes that are available to you if you become a Patreon patron, which you can do at patreon.com/thebrassjunkies. And there's a bunch of other bonus content up there as well. And I think that's it. Thank you, Lance.
No, thank you. Yeah, it looks like maybe episode 90.
So then then this will be the 61st then. So there you go.
That?
How about that? So 62nd. There we are. All right. Well, that is going to do it for another episode of The Brass Junkies.
You've been listening to The Brass Junkies on the Pedal Note Media Podcast Network. If you would like to hear the bonus episode featuring today's guest, please visit patreon.com/thebrassjunkies to learn how you can support the show and instantly access all bonus materials, as well as gain access to a special patron-only Facebook group. The Brass Junkies is produced by the amazing, wonderful, and truly inspirational Will Houchin. The theme music was composed by Fernando Dados and performed by Andrew Hitz and Lance LaDuke. We are at Pray for Jens on Twitter and Instagram and have a Facebook page at facebook.com/prayforjens. You can find out more about the Brass Junkies and all the other Pedal Note Media podcasts at pedalnotemedia.com. This has been a presentation of the Pedal Note Media Podcast Network.